So many of you have been asking about the Zeekr 7X and its automatic doors. So this video is all dedicated to just that. We will have a look into how the doors work, how you operate them in the best way, how they handle obstacles, and how you disable them and how they work disabled. And the last thing, is it worth going for or paying extra for the automatic doors? Welcome to It's Only Electric. This video is all about the doors.
It's only electric.
So first things first, how to enter the car and open the automatic door. This may sound like the easiest thing to do, but it's actually the step that creates the most frustration among the users, especially when you're new to automatic doors in general. Because normally you will approach the car with your left hand to pull the handle, and at that time you will position your upper body or your body slightly in front of the door, and that's not good. Let me show you. The door stops, I need to back off, and it continues to opening if you're quick enough. Otherwise it will stop in that specific position. And this way you will lose time and you will need to push the button again, and you will be irritated about that. So what you do instead is that you approach the door from this angle. You don't go too close to it because you're not going to grab the handle. You're going to push the button. So stand here, push the button, let the door operate, and jump in. This will save you time and a lot of frustration. And that goes, of course, for both the front and the rear. So whilst in the car, there is several ways of closing the door, especially the driver door. The most easy way is to press the brake pedal, and then it automatically closes the door. And this is despite having the automatic doors active or not, because the closing is always active. So operating them manually is only about opening the doors. More about that soon. There is two more ways of closing the door. The most obvious one is probably pressing the button on the door itself instead of pulling it. And of course, you can also pull it. That won't break the machinery or the motor inside the door. You can just pull the door. It's a bit heavier than usual doors, but it's all fine. You can also slightly pull it and it will continue. So you don't need to pull it all the way. So that's the ways of manually closing the door. There is a last way, and that's on the screen. So as you see here on the screen, you see the illustration of the car and all the functions, and you see 4 buttons illustrating each door. So the orange ones is the doors that's open. So if I press that one, it will close the door. And this is a feature I never use for my driver door, but I use it for the other doors sometimes, especially when you have kids in the back or people not used to closing the door, then you can operate it for them. And it's also a very nice feature if you pick someone up and you open the door for them. That's a bit luxurious, and it gives kind of a wow feeling for the person you're picking up. So that's the different ways for controlling or operating the doors from the inside. So if you don't like having the doors automatically opening for you, you can turn that feature off. There is no handles that you can use. Even if there is handles, you can pull them and they are hardwarely connected, but only in a case of emergency. So you can't operate them manually whenever you want. But what you can do is that you turn off these 2 settings on the vehicle, and doors and windows. There's 2 settings. The first one for the front doors, so you turn off the doors or deactivate the automatic opening in pairs. So front doors, does have one toggle, the rear doors does have another. So now manual opening of the front doors is active. That means when I push the button here, it only pops the door like 15 centimeters, that's all. And if I press it again, it will close. So it doesn't open more than that. So that means that instead of using the handle, it opens the door for you and you pull the door manually by holding the top of the door. So that's how the manual operation works. But that means that you only turn off the automation for opening the door, not closing it. So closing the door automatically is always active, despite which setting you have here on the screen. That goes for both the front doors and the rear doors. One thing to be aware of though is that even when you run the doors in manual mode, they are still obstacle aware. So if you have a car very close to you or someone is standing in the way, the door won't open. So you don't need to worry about the door crashing into things. Even if it just opens for 10 or 15 centimeters, you will be fine if there is something in the way. So it's time to have a look at how the doors handle obstacles in different scenarios. So for instance, parking next to a car in a narrow space at a parking lot, or high curb sites. Will it hit it? Or bar posts? Will it see those or will it just crash into the posts? Let's see about that. When it comes to obstacles, of course, humans, it sees it. So if I stand here in front of the door, press the button, it won't open. Straightforward. And it doesn't matter where I stand in position of the door, it still stops. And the same goes for the rear door. But if I bring some more complicated things into account, like a fake light post, and try to open the door, it does see that too. So if I do the same test just to show you that it does work. Yeah, so, and I've tried it in a couple of different spots and it still seems to be able to see it. So if I put it here, it still sees it. So a thin bar is still possible to detect that one. It doesn't only see big obstacles. I have another test here prepared for it, and pretend this to be kind of a high curbside. You have parked in parallel to it and it's a bit too high for the door to open. So will it see this one or not? Let's try it. It sees that too. So this means that the door operates in a way where the sensors scans the whole area of the door. So even if it's very lowly placed, it will still detect it. So if you have a car standing here, next to that a obstacle, it will see the car, but before that it will see the obstacle that's closest to the door and navigate according to that one. So a clever solution, and you really don't need to worry about the door hitting things because it seems to be able to see and detect most obstacles. One thing to be aware about though when it comes to obstacle detection is it doesn't sense things on the inside of the door. So if you have your leg in between the door and the car, it will not detect that. So for instance, it tries to close the door anyway. Fortunately, it's very soft and it feels the friction or the stop immediately, and it stops and slightly reopens the door. So if I try to close that one again, put my arm here, does detect that, but not by sensors. So the obstacle awareness only goes for the outside of the door. On a regular parking lot, I have a car next to mine, And this is how it opens. I mean, it's 1.5 fist or almost 15, 20 centimeters until it hits the door. And it works all the time. What I can do is to open this one slightly and see if it reacts on that one. It does. And if I close it quickly, it will continue the process of opening the door. So even in narrow spaces, it seems to be a well-operating function. So that was the walkthrough of how the doors operate, how they handle different situations, and how you control things on the screen. I think this gives you a comprehensive view of the automatic doors as such. Now it's time for me to share my thoughts about the doors. I mean, are they really worth going for? Do they really add something to the table, or is it just a gimmick? First off, when I ordered the car, or actually even before that, when I test drove the car on the press event, and even earlier, I only saw the doors as a gimmick. And I think I stated that in my earlier videos too. To be honest, my view has been sliding a bit towards seeing the doors as something really useful. There is scenarios where the doors really make sense and makes a difference. And there's of course scenarios when the automatic doors really not make sense and only creates frustration. So if I start with the bad things, when you're not used to the doors, not used to how to operate them, it can get a bit frustrating. It can also get a bit frustrating when you introduce the car to new people, because every time is kind of a learning curve, especially for letting people in the first time. And also you can get, or I get a bit frustrated when they close the door, because most people don't find the button inside, or just by reflex or by muscle memory pull the door handle and close it manually. And there is nothing wrong with that, because you can operate the door manually. But I want everyone to use the automatic doors. I want everyone to see the technologically marvelous thing with the automatic doors, because I think it's impressive. So I tend to be a bit irritated about people pulling it manually. For some people, it will take time. It will take a couple of travels, a couple of days. And if you're unlucky and have another car with manual doors, some people will probably never learn about the automatic doors. It will take time, and that will probably make you frustrated, so you need to disconnect that part of the brain with some people. You will also, if you don't learn to operate it correctly, be a bit frustrated about that it takes a bit longer to enter or exit the car if you don't operate the doors correctly. Other than that, I think there is a lot of upsides. One thing that I think is really good is, I mean, for instance, when you have kids at the back, sometimes they tend not to close the doors properly. So soft closed doors, first off, is a good thing. It has soft closed doors, of course. And many other cars have soft closing doors without having automatic doors. When the doors don't close, you don't need to run around the car and reclose the door, open and close again. You can just operate the door from the screen. And that's helpful. Another thing is when kids exit the car, or people unaware of other cars or obstacles, if they operate it by the button, you really lower the risk of getting damage on the doors. And that's very good, because you won't hit other cars and you won't damage your own door. And you don't need to visit the workshop as often, I think, if you operate the doors correctly. So that's two of the upsides. Another thing, of course, is if you are older or maybe disabled in certain ways, it will really make your life a bit easier, especially closing the door. You just press the button or the shortcut underneath the screen, and it helps. You don't need to stretch out for pulling the door. Makes life a bit easier. Another upside is it's a lot more silent. There is no banging and slamming of the doors. Even if you pull it manually, it won't slam, and that really saves some stressful moments, because some people close doors very hard, and that's not nice if you're inside the car, especially not for your ears, and that's nothing you will experience in the Zeekr 7X with the automatic doors. To the big question that some of you have been asking since my first videos about the 7X, would I go for the automatic doors? Would I pay extra for them? And the simple answer is yes, I would go for the doors, since I have the car with the automatic doors, and it's not only a gimmick anymore, because now I know how they work. But to be clear, I'm really tech driven, so I love technology, and I think the doors is a cool thing, and sometimes it's just cool enough and worth the upgrade because it's cool to show others that the car has automatic doors. To be straight, I wouldn't really pay that much extra for the doors. Maybe I wouldn't pay anything extra at all. But since the package that brings the automatic doors includes other things, I think it's called a comfort pack. It includes things like ventilated seats here at the front, massage seats, but also the electronic curtains on the rear passenger windows. I think that's 3 very good additions that I want to pay extra for. And then I see it as I get the doors included for free in that package. So that way, I really think it's worth going for the comfort package, but I wouldn't pay extra for the doors only. So if you want ventilated seats and massage seats and the curtains, they will also get the automatic doors. And I don't see that as a downside, because I really enjoy the doors. And I don't know the longevity, the lifespan of the doors, if they break, if the technology is stable enough. But I know that other cars does have the same technology, a lot more expensive cars like the BMW i7, for instance. So the technology as such is not new. But of course, the more technology you have, the more you increase the risk for visiting the service center or the workshop. But that's something I don't know anything about yet. So let's see how the doors holds up. And I hope you enjoyed this video and that I could answer your questions about the automatic doors and give you some wider aspects of the 7X. So if you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share the videos to your friends and family, and most importantly, engage. Write your comments, share your thoughts about the car, about the doors, about me making videos, whatever. And stay electric. Thank you for watching. Speak to you soon.